All right, everyone. Welcome to the Bahia Papagayo webinar, the first one for 2026. Very exciting time for us, for the project, for the whole destination. We'll just begin in a few minutes. We'll give an extra minute or so for those have just entered into the webinar to settle in, and yeah, and we'll start. So I'll give it an extra minute. All right, so we'll get going. We'll start the webinar at this time. So my name is Joseph Valentino, Vice President of Blueprint Global. Our company, Blueprint Global, represents many developments around the world. We do a lot of branded resorts, Four Seasons, Ritz-Carlton, you name it, St. Regis. We're in Europe and South America, in North America. A lot of branded resorts. And we have the real pleasure to represent Bahia Papagayo in this fabulous project. Today is a day of introducing to the market a SOLEA project and the details of that project and everything else that we have available at Bahia Papagayo. Today is the launch of really I would say phase two, 2.1, if you want to call it. There's multiple phases available in this project throughout the many years to come. And the one that we're launching now, phase two, is Solea is a fabulous, fabulous project, providing views of the bay, of the ocean. Phase one is already 80% sold. We have 75% sold for the Sereno Villas in phase one. There's the phase one of Sereno Villas are sold at 80%, 75%, excuse me. Museo condos in the town center we're at 50% sold there, and we're 100% sold at the Maria site. And today we're introducing the phase two of this journey, the Soleo condos. So this whole project is really designed, developed, created by a team of really huge developers in Costa Rica, architects and teams. We have the Enjoy Group that is very, very known, just like with Capital Group and Grupo Laguna, three strong forces getting together to develop this project. Capital Group is the main partner in the Solea project that we'll be speaking about in a few minutes. There's the Gensler Architects and Garnia as well, and of course our team Blueprint Global, represented by myself, William Borges, and Mark Randall, who's here on the call with us. So there's myself, Joseph, there's Mark, William, and there's Daniela, who is administrative, working in the sales gallery together with us. So this whole project really is a very special destination in Guanacaste, in the Papagayo region. I mean, it's not about just creating a development. It's more than that. I think in 2026, developers are looking for other things than just building homes, building four walls, door, key, and a kitchen. It's about really giving a lot more than that. And developers are becoming, wiser in the business. They're creating efficiencies, they're creating sustainability factors, and really choosing areas that are, I think, provide more than just a place to live. This project is created with connectivity, well-being, obviously sensory destination, which is very, very important as well. Yeah, so it's about creating more than just a single project. This is a project really that is blended between single family homes, villas, condos, and over 650 units throughout the whole, I would say, nine phases, totaling over a $500 million of real estate in one of the most, if not the best place of Costa Rica, in one of the most fabulous areas that is up and coming and growing in the marketplace. So our vision is about life and balance. It's about having the ability to enjoy your home have a balance between location, the ocean, peace, wellness is all been integrated into this. We work together with local communities. We're making sure that we're properly integrated into the environment. You know that we only are building on 30% of the whole site. 70% of the site is being protected. We are building homes around trees. We, in fact, are building homes, selecting locations of homes that actually are placed sometimes at an angle or a certain position so that we don't touch the trees. That's how intense the process is and how we're respecting the you know the environmental and the beauty of the site. We're not just cutting down trees. I know some developments that we do in other sites, it's way more simpler. They just really go in and clear the whole site out and then they build homes. We don't do that here. This is very sensitive, very respectful of the environment. One of the main things about this project is really comfortable and amazing is that we're only 20 minutes from Liberia International Airport. We are the closest resort, the closest destination to the airport. Most of the other sites that we hear about are at least 45 an hour and a half, if not 2 hours away. So easy arrival for yourself, for your guests, if you're looking for an investment, for your tenants that will be staying in in these homes, right by the ocean. I mean, you can get a better setup than that. So we're not just creating different parcels that have residents to it. We are creating a destination. Bahia Papagayo will be like the downtown of Papagayo. We will have retail shops, cafe, amphitheater, co-working spaces, school. There is a beach club. There's owners club. There's fishing platforms, art spaces, museum. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. So not only are you living in a fabulous location, you also have just adjacent to wherever property you're looking at, either downstairs, if you happen to be purchasing a museo, you literally go downstairs and you have retail shops, cafes, gym, grocery store. Whereas other locations in the Bay or other locations in Costa Rica, to have access to these retail shops and these services, you really have to get in a car and drive out really far, and it's a whole process. Where here, it's literally part of the destination. So the Bahia Papagayo is in the Bahia Culebra in or Playa Panama in the same bay as you see where it's highlighted in yellow at the bottom right of your screen. Those are all the different parcels that make up the project. In that same bay, you have the Four Seasons, Ritz-Carlton, and as you have the Waldorf Astoria, one and only St. Regis. It's one of the only places in the world that has a collection of luxury resorts within such a small area. Why? Because in this area, it's called a concession. It's a government protected land where the government gets involved, but the government of Costa Rica will get in and controls what is being built and how it's being built. So this is why you have so many branded luxury resorts in this area. They want to be sure that they are building in an area that is protected, that they won't have just next door to them, for example, some kind of awkward building or regular housing or these areas are all protected by the government and respecting the requirements of all these different five-star resorts. And we are sitting right in the middle of all these resorts. So the location is prime, 20 minutes from the airport, just adjacent to the ocean. We have phase one of this project. It's called El Mangrove Hotel and Resort, which has been existing for about, I would say, 8 years now. In there, you have villas, beautiful villas in the resort. It's part of the Autograph Collection Marriott Group. And we have three villas remaining there. But Mark will be touching on that point later on during the webinar. So here you see the whole master plan. You have the Sereno villas on the left side of your screen. That is the portion that we have single family villas that are between 2 and 3 and 4 bedroom villas. In right beside is the SOLEA the new SOLEA Phase 2, which is along the mountainside with amazing views of the bay. And right in front of it is the Almran Grove Hotel and residences that I spoke about just earlier. Then we have another future site that is sandwiched between El Pueblo and SOLEA sites. In Pueblo, you have the Museo condos that we have right now, one bedroom units remaining. And you have the Maria condos that are 100% sold out. And again, we have another future site that we're still in the process of working on the master plan. So an exceptional site, really, really all integrated. So this site is about, this page is about mobility. We really are integrating the mobility between the different sites. We're talking about bike paths. We're talking about access to the beach from multiple points, having access to, I mean, most of the places in Costa Rica, you may know, don't have sidewalks, don't have places to ride your bikes. We are creating all that amongst this whole area of the bay. There's there's paths you can walk in the mangroves that gives you access to the beach directly from the different sites. Really, really wonderful master plan, really embracing the environment, embracing what everything the bay has to offer. So in the master plan, you'll have the Museo condos as you see in the middle. You have Maria condos that are just in front of the ocean point at the at the top of your screen. And in there, we're going to have a mixture of different types of services, like we mentioned before, restaurants, farmers market, there's parks, there's tennis, pickleball courts, there's schools, there's museums. Most of it in the Museo condo area, which is the town center, which we'll be touching in a few minutes. Again, here we see again all the different hiking trails, the walking, the dock, the different docks. We can provide this to you in detail, but here you get to see how the whole integration of the different phases. I mean, if you purchase in Solea and you want to go visit, you need to go to the retail shops. It's Solea is in the middle of your screen. You just go through the integrated path that allows you to get to Museo condos or the town center where you have all the restaurants and you have all the retail shops and the services there. Within Celea, Celea is a sort of like a private enclave that has its own security entrance that is not open to all the public. Whereas, for example, Museo has an open area. You'll see in a few minutes. It has retail shops and all the different services, which is a different style. Celea is more of a resort type setup. So in front of the resort of Solea, we have the mangroves, which is a highly protected area. However, there are paths that bring you straight to the beach, maybe a 5 minute, 4 minute walk just across the street. It's literally right in front. If not, we have different points of entry, either on the right side, which is number 5, or number 3 that gives you access to the beach as well. So the next section is about just showing you a bit more about the village and the different services you'll find that are just adjacent to Solea and that is part of the Bahia site. Here this is a like sort of like a village area where you'll find in the middle of the round circle is the museum, and you have all the different buildings just above the museum that are the condos, the one bedroom units that we have available in this project. On the right, you have the amphitheater with shows. They'll have shows, they'll have cultural shows and retail shops. And I'll show you that in the next slides. This is another shot showing the amphitheater and the really a place where today with the phones, people are not, connecting as much. And we wanted to promote community, promote interaction amongst the owners, the people that are visiting the village. Here, as you can see, it's an open area where we're going to have events. You'll have bistro restaurants, retail shops, all different types of services available at this destination. You'll have a co-working space. Here you'll have we're finalizing some beautiful leases with some important global suppliers, coffee shops, again, all different types of services, medical, grocery store, everything that you would need if you live there, your tenants would need if you live there. You don't have to rent a car, really. You come downstairs, you get your services, you go to cafes, you want to go to the beach across the street. And if they want to perhaps, go visit other parts of Costa Rica, they can just rent a car for the day and they'll go visit around, but they don't have to, you don't even need a car really because you have access to all the important services and direct access to all the different amenities right down this, no, in the same project, in the same area. So see, these are some of the renderings that make up the spaces. And I will introduce you to Solea, our new child, a new family member of Bahia Papagayo, which is part of the phase two launch. So at this point, I'll hand it over to William, and he'll explain further the project.
Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm Will. Yeah, so I'm going to talk to you about SOLEA today. So when we were selling Maria and Museo condos and Sereno, the one thing that everybody was asking for was for 2 and 3 bedrooms with ocean view. I had a lot of buyers, Mark's had a lot of buyers that were very close to taking the next step with us. And the one thing that everybody wanted that we didn't have available was 2+ bedrooms with ocean view. The seaside condos that were they originally called, the Maria ones, they sold the fastest because there was an ocean view. And the twos, we just blew them out very, very quickly. So this is what everybody was looking for. So we're excited to finally be giving you guys exactly what you've been asking for. So all of Bahia Papagayo is a joint venture between Grupo Laguna and Enjoy Group, but SOLEA is a little bit special because there's a third partner called Capital Group. All of the people in this, all the groups in this joint venture are giants and very, very strong. But as you can see, Capital Group has a lot under their belt, $258 million worth of residential real estate, 738 million of office space, 10 million in commercial. So all three of these guys put together are a behemoth and just lends a ton of credibility to what we're working on here. So that's SOLEA on the screen, the highlighted area. It's pretty central to the broader development. You've got Sereno to the left, El Pueblo to your right with the Museo condos and the Maria condos, and then the future parcels in the far right. It's El Mangrove Hotel where we're having this webinar from right now, where our sales gallery is located, is what's right in front of it there. So on this slide, that's the road that goes north and south. On the shaded part at the top of the screen is where the hotel is located. We're right across the street. So right across the street, there's a bit of a slope. There's a hill, and we're going to be building SOLEA there. The other road that intersects with that road is the one that goes to Liberia Airport. We practically have our own shortcut at least halfway to the airport. There's rarely any traffic on that road because the next major population center further south has its own access road to Coco. So the road that's running horizontally, that's the end of the line right there. There's nowhere further to go north. So we're literally, a really, really quiet enclave up here with a straight shot halfway to the airport where you barely ever have traffic. And we're kind of the end of the line. We're literally, like Joseph mentioned earlier, the closest beachfront destination to an airport in the whole country, and that's the proof right there on that slide. So the 6 buildings that you can see on the left are what we're focusing on here in SOLEA. We're not releasing all 6 up front. We're releasing the first 3. So there will be 96 amongst those 6 buildings right there, but it's only buildings 2, 3, and 6 that we're releasing right now. So in each of those tiers is where there will be 1 building. And then in the future, of course, there's going to be a price per square footage increase after we've sold those. And, we've been seeing a lot of action already. Mark literally just announced before this webinar that he sold 2 today. So congratulations to Mark. I sold 1 yesterday. And there's a lot of upside potential here because the very last Museo condo that I sold yesterday as well sold for $800,000. So to go from an $800,000 condo that doesn't have a view to these condos here, which are going to have just magical views of the bay, you got a lot of value here. It's going to have a lot of different things. There's a nice shot of them. So again, there's 3 tiers of buildings, 6 buildings. On the outer, there's going to be 12 residences per building. So that leaves you with four residences per floor. The two middle units are the ones that are the two bedrooms, and the two outside units or the corner units are the ones that are your three bedrooms. Down
William,
at the bo-
sorry, William, sorry. Can we go on on the slide before where the master plan is? Can you provide some serv like on the right? We see a lot of things about the project, what it has. Are you able to touch on those points, please?
Yeah, of course. It will have all of your sports facilities that the rest of Bahia Papagayo is going to have. I was just about to mention that if you on one of the upcoming slides, you can see where all the cars are parked at the bottom because we're not going to allow cars to be driving throughout. It's going to be a little bit similar to Las Catalinas, where it's a lot more pedestrian oriented and golf court oriented. So there'll be 24/7 concierge where you come and park your car, and you can either take your own golf cart up or have somebody else take you up in a golf cart. We're going to have a really beautiful clubhouse that's exclusive to this enclave. So while Bahia Papagayo is going to have beach clubs and stuff like that, where everybody can, meet and hang out in one place for the entire neighborhood, this particular neighborhood, Solea, is going to have its own exclusive stuff just for these residences here. So there's going to be a stunning clubhouse there. It's going to have all kinds of stuff like infinity pools, killer views, spa, co-working space, gym. There's going to be elevated decks and viewpoints and just amazing places to take in the view, have drinks, barbecue, and all that kind of stuff.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you for clearing that up. Thank you, William.
Yep. So this would be a shot from the second tier of buildings. The ones in the bottom of the frame there are the lower two buildings. And so we're in like the second tier. And if you were in one of these buildings, you would be overlooking the clubhouse there, where you can just see a glimpse of the pool. And then, of course, in the upper right corner, you've got Bahia Culebra. That's Playa Panama, the bay within the bay. And in that ridge that you can just see in the upper right corner is where the St. Regis is going to be located. So we'll have a clear view of what they're doing over there. They're doing some amazing things over there as well. And while I bring them up, I'll just note that the St. Regis is selling their condos, their two-bedroom condos, for like $3 million, $3.5 million, really, really high prices. When you compare them to our prices, I mean, our finishes are second to none. When we get into the interiors here, you'll see they're exquisite. I've been to the Waldorf before. I've been to the Four Seasons before. I've been to the Ritz. They're fantastic places. But we could easily slap those brands onto our finishes and get away with it all day long. The only difference is that we're not a brand. We're going to be our own brand and establish our own brand. So, you can save a ton of money just by foregoing that enormous premium that you would pay just to have the bragging right of calling it St. Regis or Four Seasons or Ritz-Carlton. Bahia Papagayo, you can get for one third of that, tremendous value. And sooner or later, our prices are going to level off, and you could it could turn out to be an incredible investment. It is going to be an incredible investment to be on the bay here and have views like this. This is a nice shot of the clubhouse that's exclusive to Solea. So this is where you can meet your neighbors, hang out by the pool, have a drink. There'll be different events, cocktail hours, and all kinds of stuff like that. And of course, like an incredible view of Bahia Culebra. That's just a different angle of it. So again, in the background down there, that's what would be like the first tier of your lower buildings. You can see where the cars are parked down there. Again, you wouldn't be able to drive up. And this is just a different vantage point to see the gorgeous infinity pools and the beautiful interior and finishes that we'll have for the clubhouse. There it is again. So right across the bay there, on this shot too, you can leave it. Right across the bay, you're going to be literally looking at the Four Seasons on the tip of the peninsula there. Just to the right of it, you'd have the Ritz-Carlton, Andaz. You'll be able to see the marina. You'll be able to see the St. Regis. I mean, we're literally going to have a direct sight line to all the five-star brands in the entire area, with the exception of the Waldorf Astoria, which is around the corner. So this is our clubhouse, you know, great place to take a dip, have a suntan, meet your neighbors, hang out. All the finishes again, Our developers are Costa Rican, so they really wanted to stay true to like the aesthetic of Costa Rica and, not design it themed after have a European theme or something like that, like Las Catalinas did. The whole idea is that, we use organic materials that come from this region and this territory. So you'll see rocks and woods and stuff like that from the Guanacaste trees and all the different foliage and stuff like that that really represents this area and keeps it true to this country and this particular region. So this is one of the floor, this is a floor plan of the whole entire floor. So as you can see there, you've got the three bedrooms on the outer corners there. Because they're on a corner, their views will be even more panoramic. So you'll be able to see if you were on like the northwest corner, you'd be able to see way, way, way to the north as well as across the bay. To the south to some degree for sure, but the idea is because you're on the corner of your balcony, you'll have much more of a panoramic view. On the other side, you would be looking southwest, same thing. So you'd have a great, view of the St. Regis and the mouth out to the Pacific and Monkey Head and all that stuff. So I'll just touch on a few points quickly on the two bedroom. The two bedrooms are two bed, two bath. They're 879 square feet. The balcony area is 250 square feet, so you've got a total of 1,129 square feet. Really important thing is that they're 1,000% turnkey. So you won't have to bring anything except your toothbrush, and you'd be living in the sky right off the bat. Right now, our furniture, fixtures, and equipment is completely included. So you'll have all of your furniture and decorations and appliances completely included in the price. The three bedroom is it's three bed, two bath. You will have a ensuite bathroom with a beautiful tub and a view of the bay out the glass. There's an ensuite walk-in closet. The interior square feet is 1,281 square feet. The balcony area is 287 square feet. So you've got a total of 1,568 square feet. Again, furniture, fixtures, and equipment completely included. And for a limited time, the golf carts that I was mentioning earlier would be included in your purchase as well. So you get an incredible SOLEA condo, fully furnished, fully decorated, totally turnkey, and a golf cart, all in the price. These things are going to do exceptionally well in the rental program as well. So Bahia Papagayo is going to have our own rental program. This rental program will differ from the rental program that exists at the El Mangrove Hotel with the Mangrove residences that are on site here because they're branded by Marriott. So the only option to rent those out and monetize those would be to partner with Marriott. That's not going to be the case here. Bahia Papagayo is going to offer you an opportunity to rent with a lot more flexibility. So you can enter the rental program, you can exit the rental program. We're going to have to be very competitive rental program in order to make it sustainable and entice everybody into it because there's a lot of property management companies in the area. But if you go with us, you would have no responsibility. You would just be collecting a check for renting these out. There's going to be a lot of demand for these again because of our proximity to the airport and how easy it is to get here, all the amenities that'll be in the immediate and surrounding area. And then because of how beautiful they look, as you can see from the pictures here. So that's one of the bedrooms. You'll have a lot of windows, floor to ceiling windows looking out to the balcony, walk-in closets. This would be the third bedroom. So if you got kids, you could go with the bunk bed option there and sleep even more people. The furniture is very elegant, but it's also rugged and robust and able to stand up to some abuse if you were to enter into the rental program and had some short-term stays and a lot of turnover. Bathrooms are very well lit,
So, William,
very
what about
elegant.
we could have short-term rentals too, like Airbnb, right?
Yes, exactly. So you can use us as your renter for your property management and be in the Bahia Papagayo rental program. But if you were really, really savvy with Airbnb and wanted to go your own way, we're not gonna stand in your way. But I do think that many of our buyers, the lion's share of our buyers, are probably just going to go with the rental program just because of how turnkey and streamlined it is. Enjoy Group is the hospitality arm of the joint venture here. They rent hotels all throughout Costa Rica, and they really know what they're doing in that regard. So this is a nice view of the balcony. They're not small by any means. That's a table there that can sit 8 people that fits on the balcony with space to spare. A couch that's positioned longwise along the balcony, no problem. The ceiling fans up there, again with the rock and the beautiful wood finishes on the ceiling. And the views are just going to be insane. I mean, if some of you guys have been here, some of you, whoever, if you haven't, I mean, you really need to come and check it out. Mark and I will drive you up to one of the hills that we have here where you can gauge the view and what you'll see. I mean, it's just phenomenal. It's very National Geographic and dazzling.
Yeah, and
It's
also,
a
so that we all know sometimes we take pictures with our phones and we look back at the pictures, we're like, man, this is not the way it really looks. The camera doesn't do it justice. As much as we try to showcase how beautiful it is, when you are there and you're standing on that mountain ridge and you're looking over to the ocean, it looks a lot more beautiful than what we can show on a screen. This is what it is, but this is how technology is today. But I can tell you that when you're there and you're looking at this bay from those views, it's really, really magical.
Absolutely. And this is where like the who's who comes to play. We entertain a lot of clients out on the bay. And last month there was a $350 million yacht out there. There was a second yacht next to it. They're both 5 stories apiece. One has a helicopter on it. I mean, imagine $500 million worth of sea vessels on the bay. That's the value of this development just floating out in the water there. So Lord knows who these people are and where they come from. But this is the kind of people that Bahia Papagayo and Bahia Culebra attracts. So it's an incredible place to park your money. Costa Rica is in growth mode. Guanacaste is leading the charge there, and this Papagayo region is just spearheading that explosion big time. So right now we have our 2 bedrooms starting at 879. Like I said, I just sold the final Museo condo at 799. So for a differential of 80 grand, you could have brand new condo like this with at the very least a treetop view, if not an ocean view, an incredible clubhouse and all those amenities. The 3 bedroom, 2 baths are starting at 979. We've got 24 of each of them right now. Maria condos, too late. We're 100%
Okay.
sold out of those. And Museo condos. I'll just touch really quick on these. So we're about 50% sold out, but I'll note that we're 100% sold out of the 2 bedrooms, which is also why I think that there's going to be a huge rush to get into the SOLEA condos. Museo condos is where I decided to purchase. I bought into building A. I went with A21. I figured I would just park myself right in the middle of all the action because this is where all of the busyness and the fun is going to be, where all of our the town center is going to be, where the museo that Joseph mentioned and the amphitheater and all that stuff that he mentioned before, that's concentrated in this area. So we're going to have probably 25 different commercial establishments, and half of those will be eateries. So if you can imagine, like everything from your Starbucks to your 5-star restaurants and everything in between, co-working spaces, sports facilities all throughout. Um,
Yeah, and I want to add something here. Sorry, William, but there's a lot of beautiful resorts that we mentioned before, all surrounding this amazing site, and a lot of the guests are going to be, taking time perhaps to leave their resorts, and where are they going to go? There's nowhere else to go but here. This will be the place to go if you're not sitting in your resort. So a lot of demand is going to be here. A lot of people are going to be, wanting to visit and stay in this area. So we are creating a destination, really. It's not just selling units, like I mentioned before. We're selling a whole village. We're selling a destination, which is really makes uh, the first buyers to come in, like yourselves, really sit in a good position. Don't forget, there's like 9 phases, and this is phase 2. And the first thing you want to do, or one of the best things you want to do in a project in pre-construction, is be one of the first buyers in. And this is the opportunity to be one of the first buyers in, especially for SOLEA, for example. We're launching the first few units. This is the time you want to, position yourself because it's only going up. And a lot of the other condos went up in price. It's normal. We have to protect the first buyers. And we'll do the same with you guys if you decide to secure a home here with us.
Yeah, exactly. So we've actually absorbed a lot of buyers from across the bay. Mark and I have the easiest time to selling to people who already are residents in Bahia Colibra and then Papagayo. I My hypothesis is because they already know the value here, and when they see our prices versus what they paid to be on the peninsula, their eyes go wide because it's a lot less, at least for now. And we're going to be open to the public. So, like Joseph said, it'll be very much a destination. We're inviting everybody to come and enjoy this place. So it's going to be an attraction for people from a long way away. Flamingo was a project that Mark was on in the past, and prior to the marina there wasn't much to see in Flamingo. They put $105 million into that marina over there, and now it's where everybody wants to go and have their picture taken, all dressed up and enjoy the nightlife and the fun there. And we're basically doing you can multiply that by six. So imagine what this is going to do for the area and for the region here. But yeah, we have a lot of buyers from the Four Seasons and the Ritz-Carlton because they understand value here and the bargains that they're getting across the bay. And the other thing is, as nice as those places are, I've been to them, they are fantastic, but I've heard the words lonely and bored more times than I can count at this point, because no matter how beautiful a place is, after a while, you just need to get off campus and have somewhere to go where there's other people. And that's what this bay has been lacking all along. So we're finally going to be tying it all together, having a place across the bay where those boats and catamarans and yachts can come and disembark on the opposite side and have a downtown, a place to shop, a place to eat, a place to do it all. That's a nice shot of the interior of the Museo condos. There was originally 48, 12 of them were the two beds, 36 of them were the one beds. The twos are all gone. And I think it's 18 or 19 one bedrooms left. They all get to share a beautiful pool on each one of the buildings. There is 16 residences per building, 8 on the second floor, 8 on the third, parking on the main level. So you just pull in, park. It's the same with the SOLEA ones that I mentioned earlier. You'll have your own assigned parking spot in all of these buildings. You'll have your own assigned storage in all of these buildings. One of the residences that I can highlight that's remaining in Museo is A27. That's actually on that image there in the bottom left corner, conveniently. It's got a much bigger balcony than the other one-bedroom floor plans. We sold all of those except one right now. So if you're looking for a good recommendation, there's tremendous value in that particular unit. And I also know that there are 2 one-bedrooms left at 430, which is fantastic. The most expensive unit is on the third floor above mine, A31, and I think they're asking it's about 120K more than those for the same floor plan. So those two at 430 are a steal.
At
If
430,
you're
it's fully furnished, 430,000, and it's the only place in the whole bay you can get a one bedroom unit. It's there's nowhere else. All
correct,
the projects are all
correct,
offering 2 3 bedroom large units. So
yeah,
someone that wants to invest in this area, if it wasn't for this project for Museo, you would have to only you got to go in with 1.5 million minimum. Whereas here you can own a piece of the region for with 430,000 furnished, ready to
yeah,
go.
yeah.
It's it's
Essentially, there's
fantastic.
less than 20 opportunities remaining to get into Bahia Calibra in the Papagayo area for under $1 million.
100%. Yeah.
Yep. So there's your type A. That's one of the ones that I purchased, 484 square feet. That's the interior. That's the type B that I mentioned. Um, A27 is the final one. I would take a close look at that. If you're interested in the largest one bedroom, it'll still sleep 4 because they'll all have a sleeper sofa that can pull out. So you can still get 4 people in there if you're a family. That's an exterior shot of one of the buildings. So you got your pool up on the roof, you got your parking and your retail on the main level, and then the second and third floor there are the residences. And that's the pool, 3 by 11 meters, nice and spacious, and you'll only be sharing it with 16 other units, 15 other units. That's a central courtyard entering in. So you can see mixed use again, a lot of the trees. It's another thing that's very important here. We're not just here to bulldoze everything. Far from it. We're going to be replanting so many trees. We want it to have a forest vibe all throughout. So great ambiance. Come check out the mangrove villas to get an idea of what that's going to feel like when we're done. So yeah, just to recap, we're more than 50% sold on the museos, 100% sold out of the 2 bedrooms, and we've got 19 1 bedrooms left, starting at 430K. Now I'll hand it off to Marky Mark.
Thank you, William. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it, William.
Yep.
First, I want to thank everybody for taking the time to come and join the webinar here. I know everybody has busy schedules. We try to be to the point to provide the real details that are important. William and Joseph did a great job of giving us the 10,000-foot view. I'll be focusing on Sorrento Reserve. So we'll talk a little bit about that. 75% sold of phase one. There are 3 phases in Sorrento that will release. This first phase represents 32 villas. 24 of those are sold. They offer 2, 3, and 4 bedrooms. So we'll go into a little bit more about that, but just kind of giving you an update of where sales are at on these villas. This is the positioning here. If the town of Bahia Papagayo is the heart and soul of Culebra Bay, with the brands across the bay, as mentioned earlier, the reserve for that name would be what I would consider the tropical piece of the town. Sorrento Reserve is placed in a dry tropical forest there, so I'll talk a little bit more about the surroundings of the villas as much as the villas themselves. Having lived in Costa Rica for now 14 years with my family, we understand the importance of that balance and that integration into nature. There's a lot that goes into that. In this particular area, it's a gated community that's part of the larger town, accessible to the town center by that bike path and that North American sidewalk that Joseph mentioned. So not only are we thinking of connectability to the bay, but also within the town. You can see here how this particular piece blends in. We are a caldera around the bay, but this piece here is the flat land leading up to the Panama Beach, Playa Panama, which again is the closest beach to an international airport in the country. So with the traffic coming through Liberia, we are beeline directly west right to our beach. Again, the essence of the Sorrento Reserve, though, would be the dry tropical forest that it sits in. We inventoried over 6,000 trees in this particular area. That would include the GPS location, the height, the diameter, the species of tree. Then we also go into research of how that tree, when we move it or when we cut it down, how it would affect the flora and the fauna. We've also done an inventory of this particular area, which we were super excited about, to find that we have not only a colony of howler monkeys that come through this area that make this their home as they migrate quite a bit, but also a clan of white-faced monkeys, which is something you don't always see on our side of the bay. But this little piece, again, is a gated community operating independently, but part of the larger town. It does have its own community center. Here, this is a breakdown on phase one that's released and what's sold. We do have a couple of 2 bedrooms left, 3 bedrooms, and a couple of 4 bedrooms. So depending on what your needs are, this will give you the breakdown on that. But again, it has its own clubhouse, its own private security, gated entrance, roving security officer, advanced camera system throughout. So we just want to make sure we're regulating who's accessing and what's going on. This is a great picture of the entrance and the attention to the integration that goes into this type of design. It's from the architectural level to the environmentalist team. And again, the idea would be we're not disrupting the flora, the fauna, but also providing amenities that someone might be used to. So you'll see here the tennis courts, the pickleball courts, your outdoor dining areas. This is the clubhouse here with a lap pool, so you can swim full length. The homes themselves do have private pools. We'll talk about that later, but this would be your sense to be able to go ahead and meet some of the neighbors, and then also the ability to go into the larger town if you wanted to get a little bit more social. But this would also show you kind of the kid park there, ping pong table. There's also a fitness center as part of the clubhouse here, outdoor barbecue grill area. But again, paying attention to the materials used, that is regulated in the ICT zone here. So we have restrictions. Joseph mentioned the 30%. We can't go higher than 4 stories. It's always going to blend in. The interior, you'll see the woods there on the wall. We're always thinking of how we can blend into nature, both on the exterior and also the complementary interior design. But again, this is state of the art here. This is a little bit about the villas themselves, the 2 bedrooms, single story, which is important as we get to our later seasons of life. 3 bedroom also is a ranch style, and then your 4 bedroom is a 2 story. But you'll see there a little shot of the outside. This would be your a short video showing kind of the entrance coming into the driveway. It'll also kind of give us a little view of the villas. The 2 bedroom is 1,500 square feet roughly. The 3 bedroom sits at about 1,700 square feet, and then the 4 bedroom is right around 2,500 square feet. These are all each located on lots between 7,000 and 9,000 square meters. So we have plenty of space around. A lot of our existing owners are already planning on planting fruit trees, things of that nature. We want nature to come in. You can see by the design here of the pool how it's open, free flowing from the living space out to the pool area. This is a highlight, which would be your outdoor bathtub in the master suite or your primary bedroom. Just really well done finishes. As Will mentioned, these developers are top notch, so they expect a level of quality. But again, just highlighting kind of what these villas are all about. I mentioned here we have 24 out of the 32 sold here. Going a little more into the 2 bedroom here. Looks like we'll move into here. The highlight is the private pool. That would be your difference between some of the other condominium locations available. It's a fantastic area, again, to plant some trees, some pineapple bushes, be able to transition that into there. The nice thing about these is you do have the parking in front. And again, it is part of the larger town, but you have a privacy feeling back here. And you are essentially integrated into that dry forest. So here you have a king in your master, and then you have 2 queens in your second bedroom there. Your pool is 17 feet by 8 foot, so it's not a family huge pool, but it's not a dipping pool as you'll see in the mangrove residence. It's a good pool there to be able to spend some time and cool off during the day there. This would be the exterior, also seeing about how we're using stones and finishes that integrate into nature. The idea is that it would blend in. The animals would come right through the backyards, come right through the residences themselves. So if you're looking for that type of experience, what a lot of people are when they think of Pura Vida in Costa Rica, we're designed as such. These 2 bedrooms and the 3 bedrooms have the vaulted ceilings with natural light coming in. As you can see, the windows towards the top. It's a feature a lot of people just love about this design. The open space here is essentially a place that people can gather, the family can gather. This will show your 3 bedroom Villa B, and the real difference here would be that 3rd bedroom located by the carport. It is a lock-off 1 bedroom, so you'd have the ability to have some separation of space. This is great for, obviously, for maybe families you visit with, in-laws, but also if you are interested in renting, which we do offer those same type of rental options that Will mentioned earlier for the residences. This is a lock-off bedroom. So if you were not interested in renting off the entire place and keeping your personal belongings or personal linens in that 3rd bedroom, you could rent it out as a 2 bedroom. So some flexibility there. Keeping in mind the finish is, again, top notch here. Just another shot here kind of showing that dry forest, how it's highlighted around the residences. Extremely special. I'm always looking for products that are very rare. A lot of my clients have followed me over 30 years all over the globe. They want something that's unique, and this certainly provides that. Your 4 bedrooms would be essentially the same floor footprint, except for we would stack the 2 bedrooms on top, so you have a staircase going up to the second floor. Does take away a little bit of that vaulted ceiling, but the trade-off is you get that 4th bedroom. It'll also be a king and 2 queens up there on that second floor. Just to give you an idea how those two differ. Again, this one here being about 2,500 square feet, so plenty of space. And then these are usually on a little bit larger lots, so plenty of space once you leave the residence. This kind of showcases, again, the outside. Also showing here as part of this package, this will change shortly here, so a little bit of some urgency there as far as the furniture, fixtures, and equipment being included. We also have some incentives we can talk about, so be sure to call Will and I afterwards. Things that are running right now just for a short period here as we launch SOLEA. But again, just giving you a bird's eye view of how that's going to look. We have what we call live fences, green fences in between the homes. It's essentially, flora that separates the spaces, so you're not taking away, again, from nature. We're integrating into it. Just again, really well thought out. Something you don't see everywhere. We want this unique exposure here. You kind of see here another perspective up, making sure that the pool gets sun, depending on what floor plan you choose and which way you're facing. We can talk a little bit more in detail about that. Seems a lot of people are focused on that to kind of decide. Again, just mentioning a little bit about the 2 bedrooms. We always say this to be able to purchase essentially a single family home. We call them villas, but with a private pool under $1 million, fully furnished. That's just difficult to find anywhere in the world, let alone in Costa Rica in Papagayo. You'll see Villa B here. We have the 6 remaining, starting at 1.2, and then your 4 bedrooms starting at 163. So just to give you that breakdown of where they start at. We're going to move on now to the autograph collection, which is your El Mangrove autograph collection by Marriott. This is our completed phase 1. So when you do come down, it's 110 hotel room. It is your anchor of the town, the larger town. And then there are 13 branded residences that were available. We have 10 of those sold. There are 3 that are still on the market. We'll talk a little bit about those. Villa 2, you'll see there the pricing on Villa 2, 4, and 10. These are actually interesting because you can touch, taste, and feel them. So what you've been shown today is 3 different phases of development. One completed, one already started construction with Sereno. We just started about 3 weeks ago with the tree cutting and the tree permitting and the inventory. And then you'll have SOLEA coming a little bit down the line. So, but most people will walk you into these residences so you can touch, taste, and feel it. And then you have the ability to come stay in one of the El Mangrove hotel rooms as part of a discovery tour that we offer. So let's definitely talk about that if you're interested. But these are fantastically done. And again, we want to chat with you as soon as you're available, even today if possible.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you very much. Yeah, so right now we do have buyer incentives for all the different parcels. There's not one singular incentive depending which parcel you're looking at. I urge you to contact the sales team, Mark and William, and they'll give you the details of what we're offering in terms of incentives right now. Incentives could end at any time. There really is no commitment in terms of how long they would last. Obviously, the quicker you get involved and consider the purchase of a unit, you can secure yourself the best, I would say, the best opportunity in price and incentive. Mark did mention about construction starting. Construction, see, don't forget, this project sits in a concession land. Concession land are the most sensitive, the most protected areas of Costa Rica. It's no joke for them. They really, really take this very serious. Um, that being said, the process is a lot more tedious, and every step of the process is being monitored. It's not construction start like maybe if you're from North America, you get a permit and right away you start and you start doing whatever you got to do. Here, instead, everything is in steps. Everything involves the government making sure that you are respecting the agreement. Mark mentioned before about identifying the 600 trees, and these are requirements from the government bodies, the environmental bodies of not sorry, Antigua, but of Costa Rica. So that's been done. Now they're cleaning up. They're getting ready for the next phase. So the whole process has started, and things are going the right way. So we're really excited about this project, really moving forward. Everyone's super excited. The developer placed the environmental guarantee, financial guarantee, so that's in place as well. So we're entering the next phase in the next very short period of time. At this time, I'd like to introduce you to Hernan Cordero. He is a lawyer in Costa Rica, and he will address more details about the process and purchasing and all the details when acquiring real estate in Costa Rica.
Yes. Hi, how are you? Can you hear me?
Great. Thank you. Thank you for being there.
Yes.
That's excellent. And what I wanted was just to go over in general terms, because if we go on specifics on acquiring property in Costa Rica, it will take a lot of time. But I think that we need to focus on what are the differences between purchasing property in Costa Rica when it's a fee simple title and purchasing property in Costa Rica under a special law that regulates a specific area in Costa Rica. And that's what I'm going to do in this 10 minutes that I have. So I'm going to focus on the pages that it talks about Golfo de Papagayo. The Golfo de Papagayo is a specific area that goes along from Playa Hermosa all along the Papagayo Bay around Peninsula Papagayo to the Four Seasons. It's a specific area that is regulated under a special law was created late 80s, beginning of the 90s. It was implemented, and it has taken several years to get, let's say, on board. With the Peninsula Papagayo, which is where the Four Seasons is located, and Peninsula Papagayo development being the first one, where the marina is located. There's there's another hotel behind the marina, and then the Occidental, and nowadays the Mangrove and all the Bahia Papagayo project. So there are around 10 hotels within that specific area right now. And what Bahia Papagayo comes is to enhance the residential products on an area that has been underdeveloped on the south part of the Papagayo project. Important to understand that even though these are not fee simple title properties, they are bound by the Constitution of Costa Rica. They have the same rights and obligations for citizens of Costa Rica and foreigners. It allows foreigners to own and register the properties. It also allows a longer timeline for the concessions. This normal beachfront property in Costa Rica is up to 20 years. Within the special pool of Papagayo, the concessions go along from 30 to 50 years, renewable in a very straightforward way due to the fact that the municipalities are not involved, and it is more regulated by the ICT. For those that don't know, ICT means Costa Rican Tourism Institute, and there's a special office that regulates these areas. The project, when this special law was declared, it was declared of public interest. So it has a regulatory plan that is very strict to follow. No more than 20 rooms per hectare, no more than 3 stories height. The density and the vegetation and the construction is also regulated by a regulatory plan approved by ICT. Whoever is developing in these properties needs to comply with very specific guidelines on construction, including colors and designs pre-approved. There's a whole series of setbacks and guidelines that are needed to be respected. So it's a very safe area to invest. I already talked about the location. Ownership rights are through a concession. That concession is recorded at the National Registry, same as fee simple title. They are also linked with a survey or a cadastral plat that is recorded at the National Registry. The concession grants all the attributes and domain, private and exclusive rights to all those owners. The use, enjoyment, and the build and construction guidelines are set. Foreign individuals can own the concession rights through a Costa Rican company. I will explain in a couple of minutes. The concession rights are protected by law, and they are also assigned and inherit. So you can offer, if you're brokers or if you're sales teams or if you're attorneys, you can offer this title or this concession titles with the full full ownership rights as a fee simple title. Bahia Papagayo, especially Bahia Papagayo and the 4 products or 4 or 5 products that they just explained to you, they will be transferred at closing, where the developer is going to form a brand new limited liability Costa Rican company. That limited liability Costa Rican company will have the concession title recorded under that specific vehicle, and that specific vehicle can be purchased either personally. The shares of that LLC can be purchased personally by the foreign, or using other structures for state planning purposes, and we can discuss that specifically if you have any questions later. But it can be also owned by a foreign entity or a foreign trust for state planning purposes. So that also gives that flexibility. Um, some um, some differences between the Papagayo concessions and the normal beach concessions is the Papagayo concessions are governed by the ICT. The normal concessions are governed by the local municipality. A lot of bureaucracy and I would say that bureaucracy and timelines. The infrastructure on the Papagayo is backed up by the government, public interest, water, electricity, roads. The infrastructure on the normal concessions are backed up by the municipality, so there's some uncertainty on that. The Papagayo concessions have a master plan that has been developed, has been approved, and nobody can build outside those guidelines. In the Papagayo, there are no limitations for foreign ownership. They can be sold and transferred. They can be granted as collateral. That's very important. In the case of the Bahia Papagayo products, they will be offering through local banks. Different local banks will be able to finance the remaining of the balance, obviously subject to the credit history of each of the customers. And then the renewal process are straightforward with the ICT instead of the municipalities. On the other case, the normal concessions have limitations on ownership from foreigners. 50% cannot be sold or transferred easily, um, cannot be granted as collateral in a straightforward way because you could go to the municipalities, but they are very jealous on those. And then uncertainty on the renewal process for other beach or front concession properties. Um, the rights and obligations on the Golfo de Papagayo, commercial, residential, hotel, and mix. Um, the compliance for renewals is if you pay your property taxes, if you respect the uses that the sales team has disclosed and that the legal teams that are representing you have disclosed, you won't have any problems in relation to renewals. And then all the permits, as explained before, are subject to scrutinies from ICT. So I would not talk about that because that has been permitted in full. And then the um, the concession fees yearly are around 3%. This is not over the purchase price. It will be based on the valuations from ICT that have certain parameters established by law. So depending on each product that you would be buying, talk to your legal advisors, and they can assess more or less what's going to be the cost. Um, and then there's also a luxury tax that will be applied exactly the same as fee simple title. And then if you have any other questions related to legalities or specific questions that anybody may have, obviously we are open to answer those, and you can get our contact with Joseph or with Mark and or William. There's also other side topics that will be important if you're brokers or if you're foreigners that are investing here. With an investment in Bahia Papagayo, you can obtain a residency status in Costa Rica. There are different ways to obtain residency status, but if you want, we can also talk about immigration. And then what others, rentals. If you're going to be renting your product, I recommend you talking to accountants, local accountants, because there's a lot of compliance on tax, VAT tax, and income tax that will apply. And then if you're foreigners, either from the United States or from Canada, the tax implications from both countries are totally different. So it would be great if you have advice on that. Again, if you need any assistance, let us know. And I think that on the Filminas, I don't know how you say it, on the slides, there's my
Yeah.
information and you can contact me. I think
Yeah,
that I did it in 10 minutes. I don't know if you
yeah,
want
you're
me to
good. Yeah,
address
thank
something
you.
specific.
No, Hernan, that was great. Thank you so much for providing a really 10,000 foot, like we said before, explanation of how it works. It's very, very detailed. I recommend that you reach out to Hernan. There's a QR code on the screen. You can use your phone to make the connection to their offices, and they'll be glad to give you more details. Hernan, you want to add something else?
Yeah, one clarification for those that are thinking on investing on Bahia Papagayo. My involvement here has no conflict because at the end, I am not the attorney that is representing the developers on all the formation and all the legalities. We are representing a lot of the purchasers that will be closing on this property. And I understand that on the first phase, it's up to, I think, 80% sold, and there's new faces that are coming out. But what I wanted to say is that in case that you want to talk to us, we can talk in a confidential way. Even though Joseph, Mark, and William have been grateful with our investment involvement, and they refer us with their clients, they want us to be able to talk to you in a subjective in an objective point, and disclose as much as possible, because investing in Costa Rica is sometimes tricky, different than in other countries, but it is very straightforward. It is a safe country to invest, and at the end, if you understand and if you have the possibilities to understand, and the product is what you are seeking, we can give you the securities for you to feel comfortable. And additionally, we do this in a daily basis. So if you need us to talk to your tax advisors, or with your state planning attorneys, or even with your local real estate attorneys abroad, we do that in a daily basis, and we offer that as an aggregate value from our service. So
Thank
with
you.
that, I think that I finished.
Thank you, Hernan. Thank you. And we're very happy to have Hernan and his team part of our project, because they really understand very well how everything works in real estate, and being, a partner, I would say, in consulting our clients, and giving the right information, I think is key when, purchasing, especially if it's your first project or first purchase in another country, and in Costa Rica for that matter. So thank you again, Hernan. So we have the other slides. Well, we talk about there's a web portal. Yeah. So you can go on our website. There's a web portal where you have all the brochures, fact sheets, discovery tour information, renderings available on the website. So that you can inform yourselves on your own before perhaps calling William and Mark. If you are just curious to know a bit more, I urge you to go on the website, consult the website, and also look at all the different information available. And Costa Rica, I mean, what can I say about Costa Rica? It's got so many accolades. Amazing country, right? Look what's happening in the world, the geopolitical situation. People are nervous about what's going on, want to get their money out of the stock market, get their money. They're afraid to get it into gold, because gold is already hitting new highs. Maybe, they're going to be a pullback. So people are looking for a place where it's stable. You can't get better than Costa Rica. I mean, it's been producing between 8 and 10% increase in value in real estate for over the last several years. A lot of people love Costa Rica. It's very easily accessible, a lot of direct flights from all major points in North America, especially Miami, New York, and all those places we know of, in Europe as well. Um, Look, and Costa Rica is a place where you go and you really enjoy everything about the country. It's not just some places are it's all about the beach and the beach and the beach and the beach, and there's nothing else to do. Here you got the beach, you got amazing, rainforest activities, going to the volcanoes and going to all these different places. There's so much to do. That's why everyone loves Costa Rica. And once you come down here and experience it, you'll love it. And it's also a blue zone, and one of the only few places in the world where the blue zones, areas that are designated as blue zones, and we are just adjacent to that blue zone area. It's like right in the same area. Fantastic place to be. Just beautiful. And you can look at all the different accolades from UNESCO, National Geographic, the most biological diverse country in the world, sustainability, zero carbon footprint, really into nature, and it speaks for itself. Once you put, you land ground and you land in Costa Rica, you'll see the difference. It's just a wonderful place to visit. So yeah, it's a really great place. I think if I would urge you to just call Mark and William